Hell yeah.
John Murphy.
Yeah, time for a Mad Minute. Here's how this works. We put 60 seconds on the clock, and the guys share that minute to say what they're looking forward to in a given game. Now, Week 14 is already underway. This team took down the Patriots of the AFC. Who's fighting for dibs to play in that AFC Championship game? It might be this one right here, the Sunday Nighter. It's Steelers, Bills. You just saw some sizzle reel of that. It's in Buffalo. Cold conditions. Shregs, what has you excited about this matchup? Doesn't look like the Patriots will be in the thing.
No, I said it before we came on air. I don't think I've been more excited for a game all season than this Steelers-Bills game.
Really?
It feels like it's a playoff game. And yes, they might both be playing in January, and they both will be playing in January. But this is one of those games where the Bills just beat the snot out of a good 49ers team and now are at home against a reeling Steelers. There's a chance Josh Allen and the Bills beat the Steelers by 20 points. And we're all like, wait a second here. I feel like that momentum's happening. Prove me wrong, Steelers.
And it's not just X's and O's. It's also for the simple fact they're playing their third game in 12 days. So if you're a player on the Steelers roster, you're like, man, it seemed like everything stacked against us. We were on this unbelievable run. But I'll say this, who cares? Go out there and play football. You got a team that wants to punch you in the mouth. Let's see if you punch back.
I want to see the punching, not literally, between the Steelers wide receivers and the Bills secondary. Those are two great groups with a lot to prove. Bills secondary, really good players, haven't been that great this year. Steelers, we've been talking about all week, I talked about last segment, dropping everything in sight. That is the matchup that will decide this game, and I think Buffalo's going to win.
Ooh, the Steelers seem to like playing up in Buffalo. They have won 4 straight there. Shregs, the last time that the Bills won a home game against the Steelers was back in 1999. Who was the quarterback?
For the Buffalo Bills, I'm going to go with 99, Flutie.
Doug Flutie!
Nice.
Love it. Okay, Titans heading down to Jacksonville. Shregs is on the board. They're taking on the Jaguars this week. What are we watching for, Nate?
Shregs over there like, let me tap into it. I'm looking at the running game. And I know if you're thinking Titans, you're saying, oh, well, you're talking about Derrick Henry. No. James Robinson.
Let's go.
He's third in the NFL. And I know there's not much to cheer for when you're a Jags fan.
Awesome.
But the fact that the dude is just under 1,000 yards and he's going to crack that, maybe he does it with the best running back in football on the other side, I'm going to be looking at that young man.
Titans need to take care of business early in this one. This shouldn't be a contest. The Jaguars have been so competitive the last few weeks. Titans need to make a statement internally in their own locker room, like, we can hang with those big boys that are playing up in Buffalo today, in Kansas City. Titans, coming off of last week, I would say they need to win this one.
I saw a great jealous girlfriend meme about the Jaguars, and it was the Jaguar face was turning like this, and Gardner Minshew was over the side like, and they're looking at Trevor Lawrence walking away, and just totally smitten. It was pretty well done. I will say this, Derrick Henry versus the Jaguars, you say, oh, they always destroys them. The first time around this year, they kept him in check, totally. But look it up. Session 2 of Derrick Henry versus the Jaguars is the one where planets get moved, and I'm worried about the Jags D in this one. They got history.
You're manifesting off to the races win. I can see you working. Weird or interesting sort of record to watch that you might not know in this one. Derrick Henry now has run for 100+ yards in 8 straight road games. Not easy to do. It's actually the second longest streak, guys, in NFL history. He needs 2 more to tie Barry Sanders' record of 10. Just a little fun fact for you. Dolphins hosting the Chiefs, guys. That game in Miami, where I wish we were right now. Guys, what intrigues you about this one?
Yeah, speaking of us being there, we were there when the Chiefs last played there.
Yes.
So how about that? If you're a Kansas City Chiefs player, you hop off the plane, you're walking, this is the place where you had a great, it's like going back to the best night of your life. And you're like, guys, remember when we went to this club and we turned up and everybody had a... That's what they're going back to. So I'm looking forward to the Chiefs to continue to keep this thing rolling.
A little different. Limited fans, no J-Lo, no Shakira. Maybe next time.
No us.
No, yeah, we're not there rooting and not rooting. I would say that the one here for me is Xavier Howard. Like, that's an X factor. Aaron Donald right now is my defensive player of the year. T.J. Watt's probably too. But if Xavier Howard can shut down Tyreek Hill and make the Chiefs play without number 10 and try to
get another interception.
That is, he leads the league in interceptions. No one talking about him because you don't watch the Dolphins too often. Xavier Howard, to me, more than the offense, is the most important piece.
That Super Bowl was not the best night of Jeremy Renner's life. You spilled a drink all over him and didn't even apologize. You were a hot mess.
He didn't want no smoke. That's true. I thought he was an X-Man.
Sorry.
I thought he was an X-Man.
You really? That's it. That's what I remember about that. Watch for Tua in this game. He's going to have to light it up.
What does Xavier Howard have to do to get love?
Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Double-digit interceptions is really, really unusual. I think for that kind of guy to get more picks. You got another month, get a couple more picks.
And they have to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they collapse.
He makes the playoffs and he has 10 interceptions.
Like,
yeah.
he should be getting love.
He should, but they don't play on prime time. They never.
Yeah.
But this is it.
So
Tyreek.
then what does
this
it
is
take?
it.
Right. Well, the rest of their schedule is kind of tough, guys. They got the Chiefs, of course, the Dolphins I'm talking about, Patriots, Raiders, Bills. So we're going to find out a lot about this team down the stretch. Vikings, Bucks in Tampa Bay. What are we keeping our eye on? And this one, around this time last year, Kyle, you and I were on that pirate ship.
Yeah.
Right?
Talking parrot.
Shooting off cannons.
It was fun, yeah.
Buccaneers had a really late bye week, and I'm fascinated to see what they did with it because they did not look good limping into that bye week. And Brady did some media sessions this week, seemed upbeat, seemed chipper. I would think Bruce Arians would roll up his sleeves a little bit and say, okay, stretch run, let me get more involved and let me start doing this like we should do this. I feel like Bruce definitely got to the drawing board. I would be shocked if the Bucs lost this weekend.
I'm here for the Justin Jefferson show. The young wide receiver who has proven to be not just a rookie, but one of the best in the game. And I've always talked about playing against your idols. And I'm not saying he looks up to Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, but the simple fact that you have that guy and then you have Antonio Brown on the other sideline, it's like you're introducing yourself to the superstars you once watched.
Last week's games were not great. This week's games are awesome. This game has stakes. Vikings lose, I think they're done, I think. If Tampa loses and the Cardinals win, the Bucs are on the outside looking in. Like, they're not in a playoff spot. And I'm with you, Peter. We've been hearing for 4 months. They just got to get this thing together. It's just going to take some time. Wait till December. I've said it myself. Let's see. You lose to Kirk Cousins this weekend, it ain't happening.
This is sort of weird. I don't know if you're going to believe this is true. This might be a fake stat. It's hard to imagine because I feel like we've seen them in the playoffs so much. The Vikings are trying to make the playoffs in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 08-09. Brett Favre years. I feel like the Vikings are always in the playoffs.
They're always, I guess they take the year off and then go on, and Bridgewater got hurt.
It's weird. That's kind of weird. Okay, Cardinals making their way to the Big Apple. Kyle's like, that's not a bit interesting. No, to take on the Giants. What intrigues you, Nate, about this one?
Who's heating up? And who's going the opposite direction?
Who's heating up?
Where the Cardinals really good. It's like, man, is Kyler Murray just going to run through the league like Lamar Jackson did last year and Pat Mahomes did previously? And then he hit a little bit of a lull. Teams start the game plan for him. They understand if they keep him in the pocket and make sure they get their hands up, it'll be difficult for him to run and throw. On the flip side, the Giants are playing really well, and their confidence is sky high. I feel like the Giants might win this one.
The party bus is leaving. If the Cardinals want to get on, they got to get on now. The really dirty thing about the Cardinals is that if DeAndre Hopkins drops that Hail Mary, they have lost 5 straight games. They need a miracle. Oh, that 5 straight.
Miracle
That's,
catch.
I mean, we're not even talking about you. I want to have them be part of this thing. They're fun. They're cool. They're young. Got to win this weekend.
DeAndre is an interesting one. Didn't practice one day this week. Then they said there was an injury maybe, and now he's going to play, but we're not sure.
That doesn't sound great.
And I watched that game last week against the Rams. He didn't get the ball often early.
Jalen?
And no, it was just upset on the sidelines. Like, you could see how everything's great when you're doing Hail Marys. When you're losers of 4 games and maybe 5 games in a row and your wide receiver's not getting the rock, let's see how this one plays out. I think they got to get him the ball early and often and make sure he's a happy camper throughout this game.
Well said. I'm coming right back to you with some trivia. You ready? Last time the Giants beat the Cardinals, my friend, was 2011, on their way to winning, of course, the Super Bowl that year. Who was the Cardinals quarterback in that game? 2011.
John Skelton.
Kevin Cobb.
Kevin Cobb.
Yeah!
Kevin Cobb makes our show on a Friday. Okay, more Good Morning Football on the way. Having your first NFL start is